Adolf Hitler was not an easy man to kill, but not for lack of trying. From the early days of his reign, Hitler's life was stalked by shadows. Military officers, civilians, even members of the Nazi Party itself. Some believed that removing him was the only way to save Germany from ruin. The most infamous attempt came on July 20th, 1944. But it wasn't the first, nor would it be the last. Plots against Hitler began as early as 1938. Army General Ludwig Beck and Admiral Wilhelm Canaris quietly formed circles of resistance within the Wehrmacht and Abwehr, alarmed by Hitler's aggression and the prospect of a catastrophic war. But fear of betrayal, of failure, of the Gestapo kept their efforts fractured and paralyzed. Then came Klaus von Stauffenberg, a wounded war hero, fiercely patriotic and utterly disillusioned by the regime. After witnessing atrocities on the Eastern Front, Stauffenberg was convinced Hitler had to die. By 1944, Germany was bleeding. The Allies had landed in Normandy. The Eastern Front was collapsing. Inside the Wolf's Lair, Hitler's fortified HQ in East Prussia, paranoia reigned. Stauffenberg joined a secretive group known as the German Resistance, working under the codename Operation Valkyrie. The plan: assassinate Hitler, then mobilize the reserve army to seize control of Berlin, disarm the SS, and sue for peace with the West. The method? A briefcase bomb. The opportunity? A military conference with Hitler himself. On the morning of July 20th, Stauffenberg flew to the Wolf's Lair with explosives hidden in his bag. Despite intense security, he passed through. The conference was held in a wooden hut, a crucial detail. Concrete bunkers trap shockwaves. Wood absorbs them. Stauffenberg activated the timer and placed the briefcase just feet from Hitler. Then, claiming a phone call, he slipped away. Minutes later, the bomb detonated. Chaos erupted. Flames, smoke, bodies torn apart. Stauffenberg, believing Hitler was dead, raced back to Berlin. The coup began, but Hitler survived. A heavy oak table had deflected the blast. 4 officers were killed, but the Führer emerged singed, bloodied, and angrier than ever. His survival was no miracle. It was luck, timing, and design. In Berlin, confusion set in. Orders clashed. Communications broke down. Hitler's voice, raspy but alive, rang out over the radio. The plot was unraveling. Arrest began immediately. Stauffenberg was shot that night, executed in the courtyard of the War Ministry. Dozens more followed. Hundreds were arrested, tortured, killed. The Gestapo crushed the resistance with ruthless efficiency. The aftermath was swift and merciless. Hitler ordered an inquisition into every corner of the German military and government. What followed was a blood purge. Over 7,000 people were arrested. Nearly 5,000 were executed. Many conspirators faced the People's Court, a twisted parody of justice presided over by the fanatical judge Roland Freisler. In brutal show trials, men like General Ludwig Beck, Friedrich Olbricht, and Henning von Treschow were humiliated before being sent to the gallows, or forced to commit suicide. The executions were filmed, used by Goebbels as a warning. Treason would be met with agony. But July 20th was not the only attempt. Hitler survived over 40 known assassination plots, each more desperate than the last. In 1939, carpenter Georg Elser planted a bomb in a Munich beer hall. Hitler left 13 minutes early. In 1943, conspirators tried to smuggle a bomb onto his plane. The fuse failed. Poison, snipers, ambushes, all failed. Why? Because Hitler was obsessive about his security. He changed routine, surrounded himself with fanatics, and ruled through fear. The SS, the Gestapo, and layers of surveillance made every act of dissent a potential death sentence. But most of all, many Germans still believed in him, or feared the collapse of the regime more than the man himself. The July 20th plot was the closest anyone came. And though it failed, it shattered the myth of absolute loyalty. It proved that even within the Nazi elite, there were those who would risk everything to stop Hitler. Men like Stauffenberg weren't saints, but they acted when others stayed silent. After the war, their legacy was reclaimed. Once branded as traitors, the July 20th conspirators were honored as heroes in post-war Germany. Streets bear their names, statues were erected, and each year German leaders lay wreaths where they died, symbols of a nation that remembers its darkest hour and those who dared to resist it from within. In the end, Hitler was not brought down by bullets or bombs. He died by his own hand as his empire crumbled around him. But the story of those who tried, who almost did, is a haunting reminder. Even in the heart of tyranny, there can be courage. If you found this story compelling, make sure to subscribe for more gripping dives into the hidden corners of history. From untold conspiracies to turning points that shaped the world, we bring the past to life. Hit the bell icon, leave a comment, and check out our next video. You won't want to miss what's coming next.